Good morning. It is October the 29th and I am staying at Bottomless Lakes State Park in heading towards southern New Mexico. And it's peaceful this morning. I am so excited. It's been so windy the last few days. So I am embracing this day. Let's go find a hike. I'm starting out from my camping site, obviously. The walk is here in this park. I get to pass over a little stream and then look at that lake is gorgeous, absolutely. And you get to camp right beside it. So I can imagine the summertime would just be spectacular to stay here. You can swim in such a neat place. Oh, there's a heron. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I want to go walking, so let's see how close we can get before he gets scared. Hey, buddy, I'm not gonna do anything to you. Aw. So pretty. That's a better spot, eh? This is quite the establishment. Very, very fancy. Well, let's walk through it. They have outdoor showers, secluded picnic area. Like, this is top rated. Wow, that is really neat. This park is by Roswell, so that tells you a little bit where it's at, I guess. When I was in town doing some shopping, there was all kinds of pictures of Martians. I tell you, the things people believe. This is all day use area, so wow, they must get a lot of people coming here. The campground was pretty full last night, and this is the best time of year to be traveling, I must say. Okay, here's the trailhead. It was half a kilometer from my campsite. The Bluff Trail. It's not a very long trail, I can tell you that. I think it's going to be about 2 miles walk today. Even after Saul promised David that he wouldn't hunt him down anymore, David didn't believe him. So he thought to himself, hey, I should go into the land of the Philistines because Saul surely wouldn't go after me in enemy territory. So David took his 600 men and 2 wives and went to Gath, the very city Goliath was from. The king's name at this time was Achish, and he was prepared to hire David as his mercenary. Saul had found out that he went to Gath, so he sought him no more. David was cordially received by the king of the Philistines, and this was partly due to the fact that the king did admire him, and it was flattering to his vanity to have a Hebrew seek his protection. David asked the king if he could have a town in the country because he did not want to live in the royal city. So Achish gave him the town of Ziklag, which had belonged to the Israelites anyway before the Philistines confiscated it. Oh, they give you a sitting area with a roof over your head. We're hiking in the Chihuahuan Desert, which is quite a harsh desert. It gets really hot in the summer and really cold in the winter. I decided to sit on the bench for a minute, and the birds are just amazing. You can really hear them. So many different sounds. David dwelt in the country of the Philistines 1 year and 4 months, and during that time he battled the Geshurites, Girzites, and the Amalekites. These people were hostile to the land of Judah, so whenever David attacked the land, he left neither man nor woman alive, and took all the livestock and returned to Achish. It got so that the king would say, "Where have you made a raid today?" And David would tell him. This is kind of a prairie-like here. David left no one alive because he wanted the Philistines to believe that the raids were against Judah. So he left no person alive so that there would be no witnesses to the contrary. Sadly, this was an act of deception. Achish was feeling pretty smug. He has made his own people, Israel, utterly abhor him. Therefore, he will be my servant forever. It even came to the point where Achish asked David to go to war with him against the Israelites. You know, David's conclusion that Saul would certainly accomplish his murderous purpose was formed without the counsel of God. Even while Saul was plotting and seeking to accomplish his destruction, the Lord was working to secure the kingdom for David. God works out his plans, though to human eyes, they are veiled in mystery. Oh, looks like you can camp here. There's primitive camping. Pink outhouses. Well, they try to make it pretty. This really is quite a vast primitive area, and I sure wouldn't mind it if we had the camper. You know what? I'm going to be a bit of a rebel and go past where All Trails says the Bluff Trail ends, because it's called Bottomless Lakes State Park. So there's got to be more lakes around here. It's kind of fun exploring. This would be a nice spot. Ooh. What did I just scare? Anyways, yes. See? There's a sinkhole lake. Oh, here's a bigger one. The birds love the water, that's for sure. There's a better view of it. Now, what are these huge grasses? That's pretty special. See, I tell you, I am so glad I went on. There's surely something special coming up here. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. I love this sparkly rock as well. Oh man, that's gotta be deep. Okay, this is really cool too. This one's called Mirror Lake, and it has a depth of 50 feet. And this lake is an excellent example of the near coalescence of two sinks caused by the collapse of adjacent underground cavities. An even more unusual aspect of this lake is that the water to the right can support game fish, while the water to the left has a saline content too high for these fish to survive. This is so amazing. Oh, the visitor center is open. Cool. The bottomless lakes that give the park its name are not really bottomless. They are water-filled sinkholes or cenotes and can reach depths of up to 90 feet. This is quite deep considering their small surface areas. Water-filled sinkholes need 4 important ingredients to form. Firstly, the bedrock must be easy to dissolve. Gypsum, like the rock in this park, or limestone both work well. Number 2, you need moving water to dissolve the soft rock. This may come from the storm runoff trickling down through cracks in the rock or from groundwater slowly flowing through fractures and pores. Number 3, now a cavern must form. This can happen as water dissolves rock near the water table, creating a large underground hole that is only partially filled with water. Lastly, as the cavern expands, its roof must become unstable and collapse, creating a lake at the surface. At Bottomless Lakes State Park, you can enjoy the beauty and diverse wildlife of several distinct ecosystems. On land, the Chihuahuan Desert merges with the shortgrass prairie. However, the odd mix of water created by the Pecos River and the gypsum sinkholes is even more unique. Within one geological landscape, you can find water that is flowing or still, fresh or saline. The park provides a refuge for many plants and animals dependent on the unusual chemistry of its life-giving waters. In few other places can you see wetland and desert creatures interacting and sharing a home. Some species here are found few other places in the world and are protected by law, like the Pecos pupfish, the eastern barking frog, the least shrew, and the Pecos sunflower. Well, I am so glad I persevered, but it's time to turn around now. Men cannot understand the ways of God, and by looking at appearances, they interpret the trials, tests, and provings that God permits them to go through as things that are against them, and that will only work their ruin. So David looked at appearances and not at the promises of God. He probably doubted that he would ever come to the throne. Long trials had wearied his faith and exhausted his patience. The Lord did not send David for protection to the Philistines, who were the most bitter foes of Israel. This very nation would be among his worst enemies to the very last, and yet he fled to them for help in his time of need. David was a brave general, and he had proved himself a wise and successful warrior, but he was working against his own interests when he went to the Philistines. God was dishonored by David's unbelief. The Philistines feared David more than they feared Saul, and by placing himself under the protection of the Philistines, David discovered to them the weakness of his people. Thus he encouraged these relentless foes to oppress Israel. David did not renounce his worship of God, but he sacrificed his trust in him to personal safety, and so tarnished the upright and faithful character that God requires his servants to possess. So one more little surprise. I discovered the wetlands trail. It's kind of by the campground. It's a half-a-mile loop trail. So we might as well do it. This is beautiful. Boardwalk. Wow. And bird blinds. Maybe we'll see some birds. So nice they made this trail accessible. Nice. Wonder where it's going. This white looking ground means that it's salty. Well, I'm glad that I included this little nature trail. It was very interesting. Little signs along the way. There's lots of dragonflies here because they need water, and they got the saline and the fresh water and the still water and the flowing water all within this park. So the healing hiker gives this excursion today a 4 out of 5. The bluff trail was nothing to write home about, but I mean, the whole package is just fabulous, and I can recommend it very much. This Bottomless Lakes State Park is very world famous, I guess. It got a Ramsar Site of International Importance award. So people from all over the world come here. Have you ever made a hasty, rash decision without consulting God when you were scared?